Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a supernatural horror film, The Unseeable. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie starts with Jan, a young pregnant woman from the countryside, who is tirelessly looking for her boyfriend. Jan arrives at an old estate in a pedal-driven rickshaw. She asks the driver to wait for her as she goes inside the old mansion. She walks through the gate and wanders around the area. Her eyes roam until she gets a glimpse of someone peering through the window of the main house. The silhouette scares her to death that she jolts backward, almost tripping someone behind her. The person introduces herself as Choi, a young lady who is a resident of the estate. Jan is looking for a place to stay, so Choi brings her to the house of the caretaker. When the two of them are sitting on the floor, the caretaker, wearing a classic black turtleneck dress, walks in. Jan shares that she's in their area, looking for her boyfriend who disappeared a year ago. The caretaker tells her that she doesn't have time to listen to her melodrama. She adds that she cannot stay because it will be a disgrace to their estate if she delivers her child there whose father runs away. Choi begs the caretaker to allow Jan to stay, but she tells her to stop interfering and be thankful that the madam, a widow and the owner of the old mansion, allows her to stay, otherwise she would still be out on the street. After a while, the caretaker calmly says that her heart is not made of stone, so she will allow her to stay for a while since it is getting dark. She then tosses a key onto the floor, then commands Choi to escort Jan to the room next to hers. Before they get out of the room, the caretaker warns Jan not to go near the main house where the madam lives because she does not like others nosing around her place. Despite the fact that Jan is just new to the estate, the caretaker doesn't look surprised at all. It seems like she has anticipated her arrival already. Evening comes, and Jan is about to finish taking a bath when she senses something strange. She looks around the dark enclosed space she's in, checking if there's anything in the corners, but she sees nothing. However, the moment Jan directs her eyes toward the door, she sees a shadow passing by through the light, so she decides to go after it. It is very dark, so she only relies on her lamp and the sounds she hears in her surroundings. She keeps walking until she reaches an unkempt shrine. Then she hears a strange noise, thumping from a distance. She tries to get a bit closer and finally spots a man digging something in the ground. Out of curiosity, Jan calls him, but he quickly runs away. That same night, while Jan is sleeping, a shadow of a man shows up and seems to be watching her. The next day, while Jan is tidying her belongings, she finds a photo of her boyfriend. She cries as she recalls their last date. According to him, he needs to leave for a while to finish some business in another city, but he promises to come back to her once everything is settled. Her boyfriend's face is not shown, but is only seen hugging Jan right before leaving in a vehicle. Suddenly, Choi knocks on the door. Jan quickly wipes her tears and gets up to open it. Choi grabs the picture of Jan's boyfriend on the table. While she is looking at the photo, she notices that the man somehow looks familiar. When she's about to utter some words, Jan snatches the photo back. Afterward, Jan asks about the grandma, who's living at the back of the garden. Choi tells her to just ignore her because she's just a crazy old hag who has been living on the estate all along. Jan also shares that she saw someone digging in the garden. Choi is frightened because she also saw it. She then tells Jan the mysteries surrounding the estate, especially the unkempt shrine in the garden. It's said that every 2 weeks, the madam orders the caretaker to bring offerings to the spirit there, who will take the offerings with its pale, skinny hand. It's rumored that a long-haired woman hanged herself by the tree, and nobody knows why she committed suicide. That evening, Jan wakes up to the music coming from the main house. She remembers the time when she first met her boyfriend. It's in a restaurant where he used to play violin. One night, when Jan is about to go home after watching his performance, a man tries to harm her, but luckily, the boy saves her. He's badly hurt after fighting with the offender, so Jan takes care of him, and that is how their romance started. One afternoon, Jan walks around the big garden of the main house. Unbeknownst to her, a woman on the balcony is watching her. As she wanders around the garden, the caretaker comes out with a stern look. Jan immediately hides, hoping she won't get herself in trouble. The caretaker finally walks away, but filled with curiosity, Jan continues to walk around. When she looks up to check the window of the second floor, a beautiful woman is looking intently at her with a cold expression, so she immediately walks away. Unfortunately, the caretaker sees her and scolds her for making a fuss. Jan is disappointed with how the caretaker treats her. When Jan is about to leave, the caretaker commands her to follow her into the backyard. The caretaker looks at the old statue and flowers as she reminisces about the past. It's revealed that the madam planted the flowers, hoping that her estranged husband would come back. Jan listens to the story carefully and then becomes emotional, but the caretaker stops her from pitying the madam. The caretaker asks Jan if she believes in ghosts. Jan doesn't believe in it, so the caretaker says that they do exist, so she should not wander around in the evening. That night, Jan tells Choi that the caretaker tells her the tragic story of the madam and the creepy stories of the place that give her goosebumps. Choi advises her not to mind it, because the caretaker tells that to everyone. While they are talking, a silhouette of a man is seen standing at the door. The following evening, Jan wakes up to a creaking sound. She gets up and sees a young girl by the foot of her bed, asking to play with her. The young girl runs away when Jan is about to draw the transparent bed curtains. She keeps asking Jan the same question while giggling in the dark. Heavy-eyed, Jan gets on her feet and follows her. When she thinks that she's able to catch up to her, she finds herself at a dead end. The room is empty and leads to nowhere. She can't find the young girl, so she decides to go back. However, as soon as she turns around, the caretaker suddenly strangles her with one hand while giving her a warning. Luckily, Jan is able to break free, then rushes into her bedroom. The next morning, Choi is surprised to see Jan crying while packing her things. She says that she wants to go home because she cannot stand the place any longer. Choi tries to calm her down, but Jan is persistent. All of a sudden, Jan feels pain in her stomach, which means that she's already in labor. Choi helps her to give birth in her room. Afterward, she tells her to rest as she takes care of the baby's umbilical cord. According to the local legend, the umbilical cord should be put in the urn before burying it, so that the vampire will not be able to eat it. Thankfully, Jan and her baby are safe. Choi then reminds Jan to stay on the estate a little longer for the sake of her baby. The next day, Jan tells Choi that she saw a man outside the madam's house. Choi thinks that the caretaker forbids them to go to the main house because the madam is secretly hiding a man there. The madam loves her husband dearly. When he dies, she locks herself in the room. There is a rumor that after her husband's death, she hides a young man that pleasures her in order to ease her sadness, and that sometimes her delirious moan is even heard by many. That same day, Choi rushes to Jan, showing her the baby's clothes with blood stains. She assumes that the grandma, who is said to be a vampire, eats the baby's umbilical cord, then wipes her bloody mouth with the baby's clothes. Jan doesn't believe it and tells Choi that the grandma is a human just like them. A few days have passed. The caretaker escorts Jan to the main house because the madam wants to see her baby. When Jan shares the reason why she comes to the estate, the madam interrupts her, saying that she has already heard enough of her story. She then asks her to bring the baby to her every day. Apparently, she envies Jan for being young and fertile. When they are about to leave, Jan sees a man inside the room of the madam. That evening, Jan stares at the main house while listening to the music coming from there. She's interrupted when Choi knocks on the door with her face covered with white liquid. She doesn't want to be alone after hearing strange sounds from Grandma's house. To ease Choi's fear, Jan bravely goes to Grandma's house. But before she opens the door, the young girl who asked her to play last time catches her attention. She follows her as she runs to the main house. She then opens an antique room, only to find an old chest. When she's about to enter the room, Choi appears behind her, begging for them to leave the place because she's already scared. Before they go back to their room, they go to Grandma's house where they see her sleeping soundly, which convinces Jan that the rumor about the grandma being a vampire is just bullshit. The next morning, Jan goes to the main house, bringing her baby to the madam. She passes by the shrine that is full of offerings. The madam commands her to leave the baby on the bed, but she refuses because her baby is too young to be left unattended. The madam feels disappointed because she thinks that Jan doesn't trust her. She then orders Jan to leave the baby with her for a while. She's so persistent, so Jan doesn't have any choice but to follow her. On her way out, Jan sees on the ground the urn where her baby's umbilical cord was placed. She feels bothered because she thought Choi had already buried it. She feels even frightened when she sees that the shrine, which had its offerings properly placed recently, is now in a state of chaos. She's so confused, so she hurriedly goes to Choi's room, but she is nowhere to be found. So Jan continues her search in the main house. Right then, the thumping door of the antique room catches her attention. Out of curiosity, she peeks through the door's hole underneath. She cries out in fear and falls to the ground upon seeing someone with eyes wide open. Suddenly, the door opens. When she reaches near the old chest, the rats come out. When she's about to leave, she hears a noise coming from the old chest, which seems like someone is trapped inside it. When she's about to check it, she suddenly wakes up after hearing the caretaker's knock. She then realizes everything is just a dream. The caretaker gives Jan her baby and reminds her to bring her to the madam tomorrow morning. Before the caretaker leaves, she warns Jan not to go to the antique room again. Jan gets confused with the warning of the caretaker. It seems like what happened a while ago was not a dream, but reality. Afterward, while Jan is busy crying in her room, she hears a very familiar tune. It is the same piece that her boyfriend used to play with his violin. She dashes out the door, leaving her baby behind, only to see a man on a small bridge. She hugs him when she realizes that he is her boyfriend, but he just tells her to go and leave the place. The face of the boyfriend is now finally revealed. Jan turns pale and cries loudly after her boyfriend confesses that he is the madam's lover, and he had known all along that she's in the old estate with their baby. Obviously, the news is too much for her to handle. She passes out in an instant. It is disclosed that he is the man who always watches Jan from afar. Sometime later, Jan wakes up in a dark room after hearing her baby's cry. She's so stressed out, knowing that her baby isn't there. She follows the cry, which leads her to a room where she sees Grandma playing with a doll in the hammock. Suddenly, the grandma gets the doll and runs with it as she tells Jan to return her child. Jan tries to stop her, but she is very fast, as if she isn't that old. Unexpectedly, she hears her baby's cry in the madam's room, so she hurriedly goes there. She then sees the madam carrying her baby. She then confronts her for having an affair with her boyfriend. But the madam tells her the sad truth that the man that Jan loves is actually her estranged husband. She also adds that the night when he slept with Jan, he came over to her and confessed everything. Jan is lost for words and can't think straight after seeing the wedding picture of her boyfriend and the madam. She then takes her baby away and runs outside where he sees her boyfriend. She urges him to run away with her and start their own family with a child. But he refuses and continues digging on the ground. Jan realizes that he is the man who she saw digging in the past. It is then revealed that the night Jan's boyfriend left, he came back to his wife, attempting to end his relationship with her, because he is in love with Jan and she's pregnant with his child. Out of anger, the madam stabs him in his neck with a pair of scissors, causing his death. Then she buries his body in the garden, in the same spot where he digs continuously. In fear, Jan runs with her baby. Unfortunately, she trips in front of the shrine where she sees Choi eating the offerings. It's then revealed that Choi, whom she treats as a friend, is actually a wild soul. She is also the one who eats the umbilical cord of the baby. She spreads rumors about vampires to divert the truth about her real identity. Jan runs and sees the young girl, whose eyes fall on the ground, making her more frightened. She continuously runs as the ghosts follow her. She then ends up in the main house, where she sees the caretaker eating rats. It turns out the caretaker ran away when she saw the madam kill her own husband, but she lost her footing and fell down the stairs. She broke her neck and bones, which caused her death. That explains she's always wearing turtleneck dresses in order to cover her fractured neck. The madam hides her body in the antique room, where the rats gnaw on her dead body. Jan doesn't know where to go, because the place is surrounded with ghosts. Luckily, Jan successfully escapes. She is on the streets, asking for help from the rickshaw driver, but he just ignores her. It turns out Jan already went to the old estate in the past, where the madam informed her that she is just her husband's mistress. Jan could not accept it, so she hanged herself on the tree. She realizes that she is the said woman who committed suicide in Choi's ghost stories, and she is already dead all along, just like the others. Back to the present, the rickshaw driver is waiting for Jan outside the old mansion. The driver goes inside to look for Jan, only to find the grandma combing the hair of the doll. The driver is just new in the area, so he isn't aware of the story of Jan's ghost, who always appears in front of the tree where she committed suicide. She always calls out rickshaw drivers to take her to the old mansion. Meanwhile, the story of the grandma is finally revealed. She lost her child back then, that's why she always tells everyone to give back her child. The young girl who always asks Jan to play is the grandma's daughter. She hides inside the old chest as she plays hide and seek with the young madam. The whole community looks for her, but there is no trace at all, because the young madam intentionally locks the young girl in the old chest to die. The movie ends with Jan, who keeps coming back to the estate. The same patterns and experiences keep repeating, because she still refuses to accept the reality that all of them are dead, and she's not able to reunite with her boyfriend again. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.